So it's a little after 1, and I've been barely awake for a few hours. That's how it's going to be for the day. Kind of fading in and out. I need to get something to eat. I'm going to get to the process of uploading some vlogs and doing some cleaning. I'm better than yesterday, there's no question in that, but it's still, I'm not here. And I won't be here for a few more days. I think tomorrow it'll probably start to get a little bit better. I think that when I take a shower, which will probably be tomorrow, things will start being a lot better at that point. Um, but before I can do that, I need to do some cleaning. Um, get like my, I've got a nice layer of dust all over my toilet here. Yummy, eh? Yeah. My sinks are getting kind of nasty, etc. So I've got to deal with all that, and then once I'm done that, then I will shower. Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to take a shower and then clean the toilet right afterwards, does it? I've got all that cleaning to do, and then I'll do that. There's also the laundry thing. I've got enough clean clothes, I don't really have to worry about it, but for example, I hate doing this. I hate taking a shower and then going to sleep in dirty sheets. Um, that drives me nuts. Just as much, I hate cleaning my sheets and sleeping in it dirty. I like these things to go together. I do try to shower more than once a month, most months, anyways. Um, it actually happens surprisingly and perhaps distressingly often. Um, it has a lot to do with the smoking. So if I can cut the smoking out, I think I'll probably clean a little bit more frequently. So there's that, and that's a big thing. Um, so that's the focus for the next 24 to 48 hours. I've actually got my computer turned off, so that's I'm not even thinking about that while I do the things I need to do today. Um, it looks like the weather took an unexpected, is going to take an unexpected turn for the nicer on Thursday and Friday. Um, we'll see how that works itself out. I may do some grocery shopping, pick up some stuff. See, this is how this would normally work. I'd quit smoking for a few days. I would get it all out. It's cold out, I don't want to go outside, etc., etc. And then it warms up, and I think, well, it's gonna be nice for a few days. I'll just have a pack of cigarettes. I'll get some work done, and then I get thrown back into the same pattern that I was in before, right? That can't happen this time because there's an actual chemical change happening in my body. There's the increase uh, of the estrogen. Now, I may be exaggerating the effects of nicotine on estrogen in my bloodstream. Is there really a serious threat of blood clots? And is that threat really seriously increased by increasing my dosage by 50%? Hard to say what the answer to any of these things are off the top of my head. That would require some research. I'm not going to do that research. Instead, I am going to make the most extreme assumption possible, which is that boosting the estrogen while I'm smoking will create massive blood clots and lead to mass pulmonary problems, strokes. I will fall over on the first hit. This is what I am working under the assumption of, and I'm going to hold to that mentally to make sure that I do not go back to smoking, at least for a little while, anyways. There's a bunch of I need to get over a hump before I can even think about it. And I do believe that once I get over that hump, something I was talking about yesterday before I dropped my camera was building things. As an example, I built that makeup cabinet. I like the fact that I built a makeup cabinet that is a sufficiently gender confusing concept. Went down to the shop and I built myself a makeup cabinet. See, this is the sweet spot of being transgendered is that point right there, that intersection point right there. But there's some other things like that I need to get around to. I've been here for 2.5 years now, and I haven't put my CDs away. And I have a lot of CDs. You probably can't see that because it's dark in here. But I have so many CDs that storage issues are going to require some creativity, like building a 5,000 CD capacity shelf on that wall. I've been meaning to do this. I even bought myself a drill. I haven't gotten around to it, and a large part of the reason for it is because buying wood is not free, and I need to make sure I have money put aside for smoking. So that's, that kind of thing. I wanted to build a little end table here on the corner so I can set up this extra little extra little stereo system in the corner there. And I can listen to some tunes while I'm reading. That was supposed to happen, and it hasn't happened. I wanted to build a shelf for I wanted to build a shelf for books. I was going to put that right over here in the corner. It would have no doubt blocked off the window, which is the reason why there's no curtains on that window. I didn't put curtains up because I figured I was going to put a bookshelf up. Or I may build it around it, but I want that area to be like a little cranny. That's actually going to require a little bit of basic engineering. Even using the term engineering is a little bit of an exaggeration, but I'm going to build that little area up so that it's like a nook and cranny kind of thing. I want all of the surface area in that depression space there off of the wall so all the way up and down there, all the way off the side, and over on the other side as well. And I figure I can put a lot of books in there by doing that. But again, it's the same thing. I'm gonna have to sit down with the measuring tape and actually build it. There's some other things like that, and I want to see maybe if I can do a kind of a one per month kind of thing. If I can get that starting in the spring, save up a little bit of cash before then, and do that on a month by month basis, one project per month until it's done. That's a useful expenditure of time and resources in making this place a final destination for existence, which I have largely decided upon. I wasn't sure. And even when I was sure, I wasn't sure that existence was going to last much longer. But I think I've got some time, and I think I want to make videos of it here, so I can do those sorts of things. It's going to be awful if I spend $300 building shelves and hours of my time building the shelves, and in the end I end up having to dismantle them or throw them away because I can't get them through the door, or they're of little use to me in a one-room apartment. That's what I'm trying to avoid. So, I think I'm steady enough now that I can accept that. My landlord has decided that he will not increase his my rent this year. So I'm supposedly his favorite tenant. Because, and he said this to me once, that I'm the most responsible person that he's ever met. I could only conclude that I'm probably not the most responsible person that he's ever met. I may be the most responsible person that he has to deal with in his day-to-day life, but that's largely a reflection of how irresponsible everybody else he's dealing with is. Then it is a reflection of my responsibility level. Nonetheless, my landlord does seem to enjoy my tenancy. This is something that's going to stick for a bit, and I can go ahead and get to building those shelves. I was actually initially considering drilling them right into the wall, but he didn't like that, and in hindsight, he's right. I will build them as freestanding structures. The walls are not straight anyways, so I mean, like the premise of building it straight into the walls because it was going to be more of a flatter surface is false. These walls are twisted every bit, every which way you can imagine. Anyways, I need to eat. Get to some cleaning, get to some editing, and ultimately I will need to do a lot more sleeping by the end of the day. This might be the only vlog update for the day, so I will probably be back at this time more or less tomorrow. So that bag is something that's going to need to come out in the next couple of days. What is it? It's a grocery bag that I use as my garbage bag. It normally hangs on a little hook right up there, but I've taken it down for the purposes of taking these shots. How long do you want to guess it took me to fill that up? And it's pretty compressed. There's a second bag in there that's closed, and got some pushing down, but I mean, what I can do with my arms is nothing compared to what one of those machines can do. That would be flat as a pancake after it went through one of those machines. But how long do you think it would take? I mean, it's all plastic. As you can see, I can just, with very little effort, I can pull it down. I could fit 2 or 3 times as much more stuff in there. How long do you think that took? What if I told you that that is actually almost 4 months worth of garbage? Alright, and that's total. Everything in this apartment. You've seen that I use a lot of recyclable material, and as you can see, the recycle bin, like, that's like 4 days worth of stuff, right? So, but actual garbage after 4 months, I can't even fill, or I can't convincingly fill a grocery bag. So you hear these things, like the average person uses this much garbage, or you have a space so large in the landfill. I have to argue against this. I know that when that does find its way into the garbage, it's going to go through one of those machines and it's going to squish it, and it's going to be, I mean, it's plastic. It's all loose plastic. It's like all like cheese wrappers and Doritos bags. This is paper towel from, I'm going through my garbage here. Oh, my vlog. This is paper towel from drying the strawberries that I bought the other day out. So, I mean, like, how much, when that goes through that machine, it's going to be this thin. It's going to be envelope thin. And that's 4 months. So what I've got, it's even about the same size. So 3 envelopes means I've got what? That's my size of the, like that's my contribution to the landfill this year. I mean, that's my estimate. Honestly, this is not hyperbole. You put it through the machine. How much space am I putting into the landfill this year? About that much. Honestly, okay? So, what the hell are you doing so that you're filling up, like cubic square meters full? Like, what the hell are you, like, if I can do this, that means that you can do this as well. But, I mean, of course, you take a walk down the street on garbage day, and it's just like, I mean, people throw recyclable packaging out, they buy packaging that's not, I mean, that's what really gets to me. It's when you know that you can recycle it and you don't, or when you don't care and you just throw it all out. it is possible. We have the technology, we have the ability to live a reality where you create almost no waste. Um, and I can do that. I really think that you should be really self-critical of yourself if you can't do that as well. Like I say, this is even this is mostly frivolous. There's not really much I can do about the cheese, besides not eat cheese, and I'm not eating cheese. That's not gonna happen. I could eat less chips, Doritos, and in fact, I do plan to. If I had no junk food, like no Doritos, no Smart Food, no cheesies, all that kind of stuff. If I had none of that over the last 4 months, this would it would be just like sitting loose. Like it would be like a handful of Kleenexes and some cheese wrappers. Um, you really don't need to create a lot of garbage, and this whole societal erection that we have that teaches us that we're all bad, we all create lots of trash, is hubris. You should reject it. You can be almost zero waste, and you should be almost zero waste, is the truth of it. So what are some more effects of quitting smoking? It's around 6 o'clock, for what it's worth. Meaning I've been awake longer than I thought I would be. I have nodded off a few times, and in fact I'm feeling weak enough that I might fall. I mean, just when I was sitting down I felt better, but when I stood up I got a little bit woozy. I have eaten today, and I've had plenty of coffee too. It is the effects of not smoking, which is what I'm here to talk about. What are some of the effects that you'll notice after 48 hours, which is what I'm coming up against here? Well, that's one of them, is extreme tiredness, enough that in fact I'm going to go sit down. I'm feeling too weak to be able to stand here like this, so I'm going to go sit in the other room. It means I'm turning this light off. It's more in my shoulders that I'm feeling it, to be honest with you. But that's the kind of thing that it hits you on. Is I mean, you just lifting my arm up enough like that, like I feel like I'm getting crucified. I like saying that because it makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it? Yeah, that's right, it does. You feeling nice and uncomfortable? Sitting in my bed, talking about feeling like getting crucified. Yeah, I hope you're feeling nicely uncomfortable. Okay, so maybe I'll lie on my back. That's kind of what I feel like doing, and I don't honestly feel like doing. Oh shit! I'm out of batteries. I'm low battery. I gotta get up. So I'm turning this off, and when I come back, I'll be staring at the ceiling. So I wanted to talk about how I was feeling. Tell me you're listening. Okay, doctor. How am I feeling? Well, one of the things that happened, like when I was brushing my teeth, I got all these weird heart palpitations. And it kind of felt like I was having a small heart attack, and I had to sit down. I guess brushing my teeth was too strenuous an activity, although I don't, obviously that's not what it really was. I don't know if it was a temperature thing, or maybe there was some nicotine in the brush. Could perhaps be it. My body was like, yeah, nicotine in the brush, and it had like a fit because it knew there was nicotine in the brush, and I wasn't sharing that with it. That is actually honestly my best guess as to why I flipped out brushing my teeth a few hours ago. But I had to sit down. And similarly, I still can't lift my arm up. Even when I'm lying down, I can't lift my arm up. So, yeah, there's that. I also had hot flashes, which is actually a good thing because it means your circulation's coming back. Smokers are notorious for being cold all the time because they have bad circulation. Um, that's part. I mean, like when you the very first thing you do is you get cold. But when you start feeling that flip around and you start getting like shivering and stuff, you may have noticed I was wearing a t-shirt. It's the first time in a while. Um, the return of it really doesn't take long for your body to come back on this. Like I said, I've done this so many times, and like in a week you're back to normal. But you've got to go through this. You've got to go through feeling like you're getting crucified, and your body flipping out your toothbrush, and all these other things that you would just never even think about if you're a non-smoker. Um, Imagine fighting with your body over your toothbrush and the remnant chemical constituents on the bristles. Um, I even need to change my toothbrush. It's an old ratty toothbrush. Like I meant to change it when I quit smoking, um, because and that's been the case for like 6 weeks. So it's well beyond its useful point, and yet I am in this epic struggle with my body for the remnants of nicotine contained on its prickly back. Its prickly back. Um, and you might notice that you tend to get a little bit delirious, a little bit silly, as well as a consequence of all of these, or all of this chemical mayhem that's happening underneath your skin. Another thing I was thinking about as I was dealing with the heart palpitations over the toothbrush was that I kind of felt like I see somebody's gonna yell at me for this, but I feel like I felt I feel like I felt like a newborn baby would feel like when they were gasping for breath. Now I can't. I stopped for a moment because the reality is that I don't really remember. I have a pretty good memory. I do. I have a better memory than most people you'll meet. If you've known me for a while, you will recognize that is true. That I have an excellent memory, but I don't quite remember when I was born. My memory is not quite that good. I would love to meet someone that can remember when they were born, although I would suspect that they're probably full of shit. But regardless, I felt like I would imagine a baby would feel like as they're gasping for breath, because in a sense you are. When a baby comes out of the vagina, um, they end up coughing out all kinds of like placental liquid because when they're sitting in the womb, their lungs are full of goop. The literature tends to use better language than goop. The literature will use words like liquid, but it's not. I mean, it's not like water. It's more of like a goop, and that's what you live in. So for those first months of your life, your lungs are full of crap, basically. It's not quite tar or carcinogenic material, but it's certainly crap nonetheless. Nutritious crap, or how is air nutritious? Oxygenated crap. I don't know what you say. Well, it's oxygenated. It's got vitamins and antibodies and all these other fun sorts of things, but it is basically still goop, and because it is goop, it is therefore crap. We cannot have non-crap goop. That would be a contradiction in terms. all goop is crap, and therefore. So there's a parallel to draw there because you are coughing crap out of your lungs and breathing in air for. Okay, so it's dramatic. It's a little maybe melodramatic. I'll grant you that. It's maybe taking an analogy to too far an extreme. I will I will grant you that criticism, but there is still a kernel of truth in this, and this is something I was feeling and felt like recording. This idea, um, as I was sitting over the sink, you know, coughing brown tar and crap out of my lungs, that I felt like I was being reborn. Because, let's be honest, birth is really pretty gross, isn't it? So, where were you when you heard about the passing of the rock star David Bowie? I was on the internet checking my Facebook event listings, and noticing that a number of events had shown up out of nowhere tonight, that were David Bowie themed. I knew he was releasing a new record, but I read some of the comments and I kind of clicked that he had died yesterday. I think that from a critical perspective, Mr. Bowie died a long time ago. I think the last record that he released that was really worth noting was probably Earthling. Um, I enjoyed Heathen, um, and I enjoyed Hours as well, but they were reproductive discs. I didn't like the last record at all. I thought it was representative of a very well, it's something that you expect out of artists that get to a certain age. They just start they just sound out of touch with things as they're trying to reproduce the past. I know the record got a lot of positive reviews. Um, I think that it was mostly from people that wanted exactly what it was. They wanted to stick Bowie in 1977, never let him out of that box, and have everything he did sound exactly like the Berlin period. Um, I would not want that out of an artist that I respect or enjoy the work of. I would want them to continue creating new pieces, continue evolving. Um, and I didn't get that out of the record. I got, an attempt to relive glory days, and that didn't strike me as interesting. I haven't listened to this record yet. It was released a few days ago. I was busy focusing on my own music. I knew it was released. I knew it in the back of my mind. I was going to check it out some other time. Um, this is as good a time as any. It's a little too late to do cleaning today. It's dark. People upstairs don't want to listen to the vacuum running at, I think it's around 8. I am feeling a little bit more like I've got more energy. I think that the initial Nick blast has passed, and I'll be kind of alright for a bit. Um, and I do want to listen to this. I think with Bowie, his really early phase. Well, not really early. I mean, the folk stuff is not that interesting. Um, and in fact, I would consider Space Oddity to be in the not so interesting phase. I guess from The Man Who Sold the World up until Ziggy, um, or Aladdin. Yeah, no, Aladdin's Sane. That kind of that was a strong period there. Then he went through kind of a mid-70s period that was kind of not so good. He kind of came out of it with Stations to Station. And then there's that middle period though. Um, the period from station to station till I guess it would be Scary Monsters. Um, it's not. I would not consider that to be one of his strong periods. I would consider that to be a better period, but I don't really consider that to be classic Bowie. I consider classic Bowie to be From the Man Who Sold the World to Aladdin Sane, and the second period that he did that was strong would be from Black Tie White Noise to Earthling, and you might include Hours in that collection as well. Um, but so those are the two classic periods of Bowie: early '70s, early to mid '90s. The late '70s period I would consider to be okay. Those records, they don't sound very cohesive. I know that Bowie will reject this characterization, although I don't think I've ever seen Eno comment on it directly. A lot of it sounds like, there was the stuff with Bowie on one side and then like Eno did the rest of it. It really kind of sounds like Bowie was doing a lot of coke and just like delegating the work out to people, and like um, I really think that Berlin period is kind of a classic example of something that's overrated. It might be the first earliest example of overrated hipster art. I mean, I guess if you include like, actually no, the Velvet Underground is the first example of overrated hipster art, no question. Um, but I would consider the Berlin period, trilogy sort of in that period. It's not bad. I mean, I'm not gonna like nail it and say that it's like specious or whatever, but it's certainly not the brilliant work that so many people claim that it is. And I would challenge those that do to really listen to it a little bit more closely. Like I say, a lot of it's haphazardly thrown together, very poorly pastiched. There are high points, but of those records, I would say the Station to Station is the strongest. Sorry. But for me, I mean the classic Bowie. It's the earliest stuff and the '90s stuff. We'll see how this fits in. I think at this stage in his career and with everything else that's going on, and now it turns out that he had cancer, I would, if this record can hold up to any of the Berlin period stuff or even Station to Station, I would say that's a success. I do not expect that this record will be comparable to his strongest records. I'll be pleasantly surprised if it is, but that's not something that I would. I mean, you'll read stuff and it'll be nonsense, and 10 years from now, nobody will say that. But we'll see how it holds up. I'm going to give it a listen. Like I say, I'm not getting anything else done. I'm here for the night. I'm not getting any music done. It really looks like the rest of the night is going to be spent editing and uploading, maybe playing around with a few things on YouTube. This is more or less a blown day, although I got a lot more vlogging than I thought I did. I don't know if I just picked my underwear up or not. I think I did. I'll have to edit that out. Anyways, yeah, I think that, like I say, the reality is that for most discerning music fans, David Bowie died 15 years ago. I hoped I would get one more record out of him. We'll have to see whether or not that's true. So it's a little after 11. I think it's almost the 12th. And if anything, I'm just kind of hungry. Maybe just feeling a little grouchy. I think that the kind of major physical feeling of this has kind of passed, although we'll find out when I wake up in the morning. And as I'm saying that, my arm doesn't want to even lift itself up that far. How's the new Bowie record? It's it's a strong record. It's not it doesn't fit, under his. It's not outside. It's not, it's not The Man Who Sold the World. It doesn't. It's not that good. But there's a bunch of records he did, like Black Tie, White Noise, or I think Station to Station falls in this category as well. That were good records. You know, if you're a fan of his and you put that record on, you'll enjoy it. But it didn't have the resonance or the kind of long term forward thinking aspect of it. I'd be hesitant to kind of put it in that sort of category. It's a strong record. It's just not. It's not at the top of his list or anything, despite the fact that you will hear people say that. And I'm sure he'll sell a lot of records based on that premise. But I mean, it's not there. Um, in the Ultra Reality tonight, the Skater single gets released. I know all of this is bunched up right now, so it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but as it disentangles itself, it will seem less so. So I'm not really going to talk much about it because I just talked about it. But yeah, the Skater single release tonight in the Ultra Reality. Um, I didn't think I'd be awake this long. I've been awake for a good, well, it's 11, so I've been awake a good 12 hours. So that's a lot longer than I thought. I'm gonna finish at least editing as many of the vlogs as I can tonight. Although I'm gonna stagger them. I figure if I upload them all right away, nobody's gonna watch them. But if I do an hour per day, that's probably reasonable, right? So I'll upload an hour per day until I catch up, right? And in fact, a lot of the vlogs are fairly short, so I could end up being 5 or 6 a day for a while. They are that short. Some of them are like 3 minutes. I was recording sort of basic things that were happening. Again, a lot of it's about the music as it was coming up, and I was dealing with just listening or with basic gear issues or whatever, right? So it's not going to be all that exciting. And I think that whether I like it or not, that will bring me to the end of the night. Like I say, I'm unusually hungry, and I should have expected that. I should have prepared for that. I may go a little bit ahead in the schedule and then pull myself back by getting a bunch of junk food in the next few days. Tomorrow, it looks like I'm going to wake up and clean, sort of thing. I'm thinking what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take everything I can and move it behind that door. Um, I'll see how it works out tomorrow, but I think I've got a plan to clear the place out a little bit because, I mean, if I'm going to clean, I want to get everything off the ground. And there's a space behind there that's kind of empty, so it would make sense just to park everything back there. Um, but this is gonna close the vlog. There's no question. And I'll be back at it tomorrow. How am I feeling? A lot better. I'm alert at the least, even if I'm grouchy. So this is working out. And I do start with the pills tomorrow at midnight. I'm going to be doing it. I looked into it a little bit, and the best thing to do, I think, is to do it on instead of taking like 2 and then 1 and then 2 or some weird thing like that. It's just if I take it every 8 days, every 8 hours, so that I'm getting it cycling around like that. It's going to be confusing for the rest of it because the way things are right now, they take all 3 pills at the 12 o'clock hour, right? So I take it at noon, then at midnight, and then at noon, and then at midnight, and it cycles around like that. If I'm going to be doing this so that it's at different points of the day, I'm going to get confused, but I'll just have to work it out, right? Well, what's 8 divides into 12 fairly well. Well, not it. I'm too scatterbrained to articulate myself well right now, but they're both divisible by 4 is I think what I was trying to say, and so it'll work out okay. They're gonna have multiple common uh, multiples as each of them cycle out towards infinity. They're gonna intersect fairly frequently, so it should be in fact relatively trivial to find an intersection point that is periodic, meaning that it's not such a confusing thing after all. Anyways, I said I'm feeling okay. Obviously, I'm still a little bit scatterheaded, and hopefully that mostly resolves itself when I wake up. I think that tomorrow I'm doing a massive juice infusion along with the cleaning. Um, I don't want to make another pot of coffee. Although I did buy. See, I was weighing these things. Do I want to buy some more soy milk? If I do, then I'll have to drink all the coffee. I'm not gonna make any tomorrow, anyways. I'm just gonna take a massive infusion of juice, and I could very well drink that entire 3 liter container tomorrow. We'll see how that works out. Yeah, I'm closing this.